This is iFIBER 1 News. Here are today's top stories.
Squirrel Fight Artisan Brewery, located right next door to Chico's Pizza in Moses Lake, opened its doors in a soft opening earlier this week.
As 2019 has progressed, so too have the spread of arid conditions across Washington state.
Representative Dan Newhouse took a moment on the House floor to honor the memory of Clyde Owen, the last commander of the Larson Air Force Base in Moses Lake.
Washington's House Republicans haven't yet begun their promised probe of controversial Representative Matt Shea, but when they do, it will involve private investigators.
From the iFIBER 1 newsroom, this is iFIBER 1 News, and it starts now.
There's a new brewery and tap house in town with quite the unique name. Squirrel Fight Artisan Brewery, located right next door to Chico's Pizza in Moses Lake, opened its doors in a soft opening earlier this week. Trey Watson and Ruba Vela opened the brewery and have seen plenty of support from the local area, including 10 Pin Brewery and Chico's. Watson explained what beer drinkers can look forward to with the new brewery.
So we're using what we call a discovery brewery model, where we're doing a lot of different beers. So people can, if they come in 1 week and they come back 2 weeks later, there's going to be different beer that they haven't tried down here. And we'll always have certain styles, but the recipes are going to rotate quite a bit. And then on our guest tap list, we're going to kind of rotate those around as well.
Being right next to Chico's is a great location for a place that serves beer. Squirrel Fight allows food in the tap room, so you can bring your Chico's pizza or any other kind of food you like to bring to Squirrel Fight and enjoy their drinks. Vela explained how they managed to get the location they did.
I reached out to Mitch Thorns and he responded, and we took a tour of the place. It was probably a lot bigger than what we initially anticipated or wanted. We thought, you know what, we could probably make this space work, and Mitch was awesome enough to work with us and let us in.
The tap room was open Wednesday through Sunday, typically from 4:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. The tap room is still planning on adding more furniture and seating for customers soon. I'm Adam Chikoski for iFIBER 1 News.
This segment is brought to you by
Change doesn't have to be complicated. With a low-profile microwave hood combination that's ready to install right out of the box. It fits in the same space as your under-cabinet hood, so you can get your microwave off the countertop and make space for the routines worth keeping. The low-profile microwave hood combination from the #1 selling appliance brand in the USA.
Whirlpool Appliances, now available at more furniture in Ephrata.
As 2019 has progressed, so too have the spread of arid conditions across Washington state. According to the latest information from the U.S. Drought Monitor released on Thursday, roughly 3/4 of the Evergreen State is anything but green, and now listed as being categorically in at least the initial stages of an official drought. Drought conditions have already been formally declared for about half the state, with the most parching effects covering much of the Olympic Peninsula, where the Drought Monitor has posted a rating of D2 for severe drought, along with places around central Washington from the Canadian border south to near the Oregon border, which are largely listed at a rating of D1 for moderate drought. Watersheds in Wenatchee, Entiat, and Chelan are part of the official drought declarations, as well as those in the Yakima area and in much of Okanogan County. The desiccated state has been gradually enlarging in a southeasterly direction since the early spring and now encompasses a swath of landscape arching from Klickitat County north through most or all of Kittitas, Douglas, Grant, Adams, and Lincoln counties that the Drought Monitor rates as a D0 for abnormally dry. The persistent drought and drought-like conditions are not expected to alter their course anytime soon, in spite of cooler temperatures and average levels of precipitation which have been recorded over the last month throughout much of the state. Reporting for iFIBER 1 News, I'm Chris Hansen.
This segment is brought to you by
Your taste buds bored? Well, then bring them to Jay's Teriyaki. Not only does Jay's have a variety of teriyaki dishes, they also offer mouth-watering salads and sides. Call Jay's 509-764-5155. Jay's Teriyaki, located at 123 East Broadway in Moses Lake, because it's all in the sauce.
Representative Dan Newhouse took a moment on the House floor to honor the memory of Clyde Owen, the last commander of the Larson Air Force Base in Moses Lake. Clyde Owen died on July 1st at the age of 100. Newhouse praised Owen as an individual who dedicated his life to serving the country and improving his community.
Clyde was a pilot during World War II and the only member of his aircrew to escape enemy fire during the landing at Anzio in 1943. Surviving these adversities, he continued to serve in the Air Force, traveling the world before settling in Moses Lake in 1961. There he served as the last commander of the Larson Air Force Base, overseeing crucial tanker and bomber fleets before its closure in 1966. I urge my colleagues to join me in honoring Clyde's long life of service, his commitment to the United States, and to the people of Moses Lake.
Owen also became the first executive director for the Port of Moses Lake in 1966 after the base was closed, and served in the position until 1984. This is Joe Utter for iFIBER 1 News.
Washington's House Republicans haven't yet begun their promised probe of controversial Representative Matt Shea, but when they do, it will involve private investigators. The Spokane Valley legislator was named as a participant in 2017 online chats with far-right activists who discussed violent tactics against left-wing opponents. The chats, published by The Guardian in April, show Shea, a six-term House member and leader of the movement to split Washington into two states, volunteering to provide background checks for the effort. That month, House Republican Caucus leader J.T. Wilcox promised a fact-finding investigation into Shea's role in the chats. But the legislature recessed in April, and on Thursday, 3 months later, House GOP spokesman John Handy told iFIBER 1 News the investigation has not begun yet. Handy says the chief clerk of the House is negotiating a contract with an outside investigator to look into Shea's affairs. Shea was formerly a Republican floor leader and caucus chairman in the House, but was excluded from leadership posts last November, after a document he wrote called A Biblical Basis for War was brought to light by the Spokane Spokesman Review. At a rally in Wenatchee in May to promote the Liberty State movement, he refused to say whether he condemned political violence.
Do you renounce political violence?
Nobody that I associate with that has fought, particularly overseas, advocates political violence. And I got to tell you something, this continued attempt to smear people is actually fomenting political violence. Now, I ask you this question. I want you to answer this question. Do you condemn political violence by such organizations as Antifa?
Are you still associated with the folks who are in that
Do you renounce political violence by organizations like Antifa?
What's the GOP caucus?
Do you renounce political violence by such organizations as Antifa?
Have you been contacted?
Do you renounce political violence? Do you? Why is the media never answering this question? That's what Americans are frustrated with. I think that ends the interview because it sounds like you are actually advocating for political violence. I don't advocate for political violence, and as a result, then I can't continue the interview if you're not going to denounce it. So thank you very much for your time.
Quick question I have.
Jefferson Robbins, iFIBER 1 News.
This is iFIBER 1 News. For more information on these stories and other news, visit us online at iFiber1.com or check us out on Facebook.